I figured since we get this one last look and final dose of the Wholesome One, we're going to try to get as much in as possible. So we're going to show double of the Wholesome One throughout most of the show and do a little reminiscing and look back at some previous episodes. Look at that. Look at that guy, Wholesome One. Who is that guy in the white?
Man, he's young, he's fired up and excited. Yeah, man, what a difference. What was that? 2019?
Yeah, at a certain point, they take the exact dates off these things and they just put what year it is, and it says we're at well, it says streamed 2 years ago. Now I found another one with you where it was listed as 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but was not a Hurricanes live. We taped one at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, that's how it started. And I was able to creep into. Remember, we even did one where I was over the phone for a bit. I would do a little call-in segment there, and my service sucked. It would go in and out, and I'm blabbering on, and you're like, "You there? You're still there?"
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going back and back and back, and the first one I could find you in terms of our episode numbers was number 72. But I'll keep
Mhm.
doing a little searching and see if I can come up with one before that. But number 72 was the first one I could find you, and so here we are 3 years later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will say
So,
this, Wholesome One, that you were not only a contributor here, then you became a mainstay, then you became uh, a pillar, uh, somebody that me, first and foremost, depended on here to build and grow our channel and for people to look to each and every week and get excited about seeing you and hearing the analysis every week to um, definitely a friendship that I cherish. So I appreciate you. Let's have a good time. And I don't know what we're going to talk about, everyone, but we're going to talk about what we want to talk about. I will say it that way. But everybody, take advantage of the next 60 minutes here with the Wholesome One.
absolutely, absolutely. It's been such a pleasure, Mark. I remember watching when I was in Mayville, 2015. Um, Cam Underwood comes on, and Miami had just barely beaten Nebraska. Um, Miami jumped out to a big lead on Nebraska. Then, in typical Miami fashion at that time, um, they gave up a big comeback. Goes to overtime. Miami wins because Corn Elder has a nice interception. And on that interception, the offensive tackle like hit him out of bounds. So it put us in great field position for a game winning field goal. When the game was supposed to be like, it was 30-3, and we ended up winning 36-33.
Oh
That's
man,
how it just,
I was going to impress you with by telling you I knew the final score of that game. I will tell you
oh,
who threw that interception was Tommy Armstrong.
yeah, who I felt like played for Nebraska forever.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, it's either Armstrong or Martinez. For like the last 15 years, it was one
Pretty
of those two
much.
last names that was quarterbacking. Cam Underwood comes on and he was livid. I mean, just livid. And I'm like, this guy shares he shares my opinions on what Miami should be and how that was a pathetic output, especially defensively. And I never missed an episode all the way up until we got on. And of course, after that, he's always been a great hero of mine. And it was just a great opportunity and has been to have had this spot and to have shared the screen with you. And I remember when I first ran into Mark Rogers TV, I'm like, this dude covers everything. I mean, what I would have thought would be a great smaller version of an ESPN production where you give all these people their due and get a chance to, whether alumni or just media people, you give a chance for them to come on and talk about the program that they love. And you gave that to them and you gave it to us and you gave it to me. And Speaking about this a place that my family have attended or alumni of, my cousin Santana Moss and Sonoris Moss played at Miami, or alumni also. And for me, someone who would have loved to have gone there, but they didn't give me enough scholarship money, so I didn't go. It's just been a true blessing. And it had to come at the time where I was working under someone else, and I was able to just share my knowledge on screen. And it's always been a great thing that before I was a good player, I studied it and I learned it. I learned the players, I learned what they did well. And I'm like, one day I would love to be able to talk about this and to teach it and to share it with people. And this platform, and remember, we used to use Google Hangout, Mark. This
Oh
goes back
yeah,
now. This
that's right.
goes back where we couldn't talk simultaneously because whoever was talking, the screen would flip to that person. So if you cut them off, the screen just kept going. um, back and forth. And thank you. Thank you. It's been an amazing opportunity. We still got like 50 more minutes here. So I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but who knows, man? Because when you run into people who just bless you, and God has a sense of humor like that, where sometimes you think something is impossible or outside of your reach, or you're not good enough, or you don't know the right people to get in that position. And when He blesses you with it, and not only do you take it and you run with it, um, you knock it out of the park. And I felt like that's what we built here as the B show. Because I mean, Cam Underwood will always be the GOAT. He'll always be number one. But it was great to be able to
I
know.
don't look at it that way and never
Of
have.
course not. I know you. I know you don't. But it's just the honest truth. You know, I was the B show. I was the other guy. But I took pride in it, and we got to the point where we would have great numbers, just like the original show that had been on for years. And that's what you want. Um, so I thank you. I thank whoever is your editorial people. I thank your um, just you and the person that you are and the person that you've shown us to be, even in your time of bashing the program and being honest. Um, you've been a great friend and someone that has allowed me to express myself, whether it's having my locks hanging down, whether I was standing up like we're doing right now. This is in a basement. Back before I had a job where I could afford the place I am now, and I lived in the basement of a home while in undergrad, and I put this flag up in front of the cabinet so we couldn't get into the cabinets. I'm standing up in the kitchen right now, with that was the second iteration of the parlay jerseys that Miami wore, and it's crazy looking back at this and seeing a guy who I never took this for granted, but back then I was just like, I'm on freaking Mark Rogers TV. Like me, Dwayne Holloway is on Mark Rogers TV, and then you branched off to building their own channels. And Miami gets a channel, SC gets a channel, Iowa has a channel, Nebraska has a channel, Oregon has a channel, Tallahassee has a channel, SEC had a channel, Florida Gators, the SEC guy and the Florida Gators guy was the same person at that time. But it's been great, man. From overhyping players, and I have my favorites, to talking about some of my favorite moments at a time where at this time um, I was just eating ramen noodles and just trying not to get too fat because I was done playing ball, and now I'm in grad school, and I was a student assistant working to become a grad assistant. Finally walking across that stage as a COVID 2020 grad, so I didn't get a big graduation and a big speech, but this was happening all around that same time. And I could say one thing was for sure. I had an opportunity to be on with Mark Rogers TV and talk about Miami. And it different from my channel, Mark. Well, my channel, I was able to be a little bit more loose and free. And I know I could be loose and free here, but I would cuss and do all kind of crazy stuff on my channel. But whenever I got that link from Mark Rogers, and I would go pick my beard out, put some beard oil in, fix my hair up. I'm going on Mark Rogers TV, baby. If I had a makeup girl, I would have her do it for me, just because I knew I had to put my best foot forward to be here and to have this spot, to have this seat. So it's the funny part is I don't even know if enough people have asked this question. So I'll go on and let you know what's happening. I won't say my school of choice or program of choice just yet, because who knows what can happen. Well, what's happening with Holloway is at times in life you have to make a decision. And just like when I left Mayville State to transfer to North Dakota State, or just like when I got on a plane from Orlando, Florida, having to drive from Hialeah, Miami Lakes up to Orlando because that was the only place you could fly Allegiant out as a straight flight to Grand Forks and then drive from Grand Forks over to Mayville. Sometimes you just take a leap of faith. And that's what I'm doing. I've always wanted to be a coach and be known as Coach Holloway or Coach Holsum. And you can't wear both hats. And it's crazy to think about it, but it's the truth. You can't wear both hats. So that is why I'm stepping away from YouTube to pursue my dream to make Coach Holloway a reality. And I will. And I'm sorry, Mr. HD. I'm sorry, people who are. I'm not leaving because Mark is kicking me out. I'm not leaving.
No.
I'm not leaving because I no longer. I've gotten too big for my britches, and I don't want to be on Mark Rogers TV anymore. No, I'm going out to put my resume out there and try, because that's all you could ask, is that you put yourself in position to get the chances. And when you get your chances, you take it, you run with it. And it has been a great opportunity. And that's what's about to happen. So there's that.
I do want to point something out here. And Corey, thank you so much for leading into what I was going to bring up just now. So we certainly don't need to share particulars here, but know that the Wholesome One has brought the type of value here to this show, where when you have contributed to the show financially, that has benefited him. So I want you to also know that for this show, this being his final show, this is the first time I've ever really asked for, because I've always considered the super chat contributions, for as much as I appreciate them, I do not want to build a channel or a business on super chat contributions. I want to build them on a sound business model of sponsorships and ad revenue and affiliate marketing and other aspects of it. But, understand that when you contribute to this show in particular, as has been the case now for quite some time, that you are helping the Wholesome One going forward to pursue his dreams and support him. So, Corey, thank you so much for the contribution here. You are truly one of a kind and a true Kane. We will continue to cheer you on in your career while missing your quality content. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Yeah, that's that hits home, man, because that's what you want. You want to be able, when you bow out gracefully, when you move on, when you retire, of course this is to my face, but you want there to be stories about you where your integrity, you as a man, you as a person, you they can speak great things about you. Not about your play, not about your looks, not about the hair, not about the attire, even though all those things are A1 too. You want it to be about the quality of a person that you are. And of course, I'm on camera, and there's times where you've seen me act crazy and go off and say walk on should never play at UM, or go in on certain players. I've had my players where uh, I didn't think the best of them, like Brevin Jordan or Corey Flagg, or some players, or Scott Patchett, guys that I just went in on and let my fandom run free. And it's never against them as a person. It's just I've had my moments, but that means a lot, Corey, that, whether it's on my own channel or here, I've had people who appreciated me and still do and still will, just now pushing forward for my coaching and really going and giving it a shot.
We also want to make sure, because not everybody watches the complete show start to finish, and I can't understand why, especially on this night, but we do understand that Wholesome One, I want to make sure that everyone's understanding what is going to be on your channel for a final show next Monday.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up, something that I was crying in the shower about that yesterday. So on Monday, the finale on my personal channel will be Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until I even took off Tuesday because I just know that it's gonna be a doozy. We might go to 1-2 a.m. Who knows? There will be a call-in portion. Of course, we always got to do the old school call-in portion. But I will have a series of people who have influenced me in this time that are coming to come on and talk. Not about, you have a section and you can only be on for this hour, but we can have 12 people on the screen. It don't matter to me. But we're just going to talk about, of course, Miami and my time on YouTube, and just being able to say a final farewell to the thousands, and eventually hit 1 million views not too long ago for the first time, hit 5,000 subscribers, something that I would have never thought I would have touched with my first video. And you know what's crazy about today? Today, Mark, 5 years ago today, April 6th, I'm sitting in one of the study hall rooms on the campus of NDSU, and I'm like, I just want to talk about So I get on there and I press record on a dingy laptop, and it's all fuzzy. But this is when I decided to take the channel serious and say I want to be a YouTuber covering Miami Hurricanes football from Fargo, North Dakota. Now, if I was doing this in my time in Miami, maybe it would have boomed a lot sooner because I'm in a coast geographically closer, and the way YouTube works with the algorithm, people in your area get your videos and things of that nature. It could have boomed sooner, but I decided to still do it, man. And look at where we are. Whether it was the highlight tapes, whether it's the film breakdowns, whether it's the lives, whether it's the hashtag rewatch squad, we did it. And I'm thankful and forever grateful to the people who have supported me, and the haters. Gotta love the haters too. God, the Bible says, pray for your enemies, love those who chastise you. But that's what I did. And we're happy about that. And that's what we'll talk about on Monday. And that'll be, hopefully we get a big showing, And the thing about not being on your channel for a while and not going live, the algorithm may not be booming. So I thought about going live on Monday, this previous one that just passed, just to let everyone know that I'll be live this upcoming Monday. But I'm like, I've announced it on Mark Rogers. I'll announce it on Twitter probably Sunday evening so that people can come on Monday and then repost it again on Monday to let people know to be there.
I will announce all over the place as much as I possibly can, whether that's on Twitter, on the main channel here, and so forth, to make sure that we can get as many people. I can do a short, anything I can think of to get the word out on Monday. Gage, thank you so much for the contribution. We appreciate you. H1H, you more than held your own. You and Cam are great at what you do. You will be missed. Good luck, and hope to see you reach your coaching pinnacle.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. And thank you again, Gage. We'll see, man. I'll miss it. I'll miss all my little funny comments and hashtags and stuff like that. But um, I just hope that going into this, whether it's starting out at a high school or a small college program, that you just want to get the ball rolling. And then you go and you take jobs, and eventually you'll see me on a press conference and go, isn't that's that Holloway guy? That the wholesome, that guy, yeah. That's me. And Mark, you never know. Maybe I'm throwing up to you. I don't know. But either way, I hope Mario Cristobal stays the head coach forever. But Coach Cristobal, you're looking for a young guy. My number is pretty public, brother, and I would love it. I would love the opportunity. But you want to build a resume because I don't have the name of being a former big great player. I wasn't some 5-star recruit who played at insert school here. So who you are as a person, your level of work ethic, being on time, your production, that's the kind of stuff that you can control, and that's what you want on your resume. And hopefully I can build a resume attractive enough to where a coach like Coach Cristobal will value me enough, or Coach Ryan Day, or Coach Harbaugh, or Coach Big Name insert here.
That's right.
Gundy,
Kleiman.
Yeah. Oh, that last one. Yeah. So there's that, man. I'm thankful. It's my tears have turned to smiling because it's good to hear not just great things about you, but that people will genuinely miss just your presence. That's a big thing, man, because the knowledge, a lot of people can read the books. A lot of people can learn football, but when you build a connection with people, that's where it's like you feel appreciated. And that's what I'm feeling right now is an overwhelming sense of appreciation.
Well, that was another nice aspect of this show with you was that we tackled the nuts and bolts first and foremost. That was always the priority, tackling the nuts and bolts and the X's and O's. But things happen in life. Things have happened in this country. There have been a lot of things that we didn't shy away from. We didn't make it a centerpiece of the show, but we didn't shy away from it. And we dealt with some difficult topics and subjects and some opinions out there at times. And we had healthy conversations about it.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so genuine. If you want to come on and just talk about, well, Miami lost the game today and Miami passed for 300 yards and ran for 125 yards and beat Southern Miss 23-3. Okay. Well, that's about 30 seconds. You got to be able to figure out how to make an entire show. I mean, Mark, we did a 2-hour show 2 weeks ago, and it felt like 30 minutes. I mean, we look up and go, oh, snap. We've been on for 1:45 because, people are here and people are listening, but we're continuously acknowledging the chat, but it's us. And I felt like we've had a great chemistry over the years and bouncing back and forth and the jokes about Ohio State and the continuous back and forth for that 2003 national championship game and the penalty that wasn't on both ends, where you bring up the PI that was against Miami that wasn't called, just like the PI that shouldn't have been called, and to lose the game. But it's always great debate. Great debate.
In honor of the Wholesome One tonight, I'm going to do what he has wanted me to do 52 other times when he is. Can you believe that I just pulled out of thin air the number 52? Like I could have said 17 or 87. I just grabbed a large nut, and it, boom, by synergy, just 52 is what came out of my mouth. The other 52 times that we talked about that game and that call, that this time I won't respond. I will just leave it there. I will do what the Wholesome One wanted me to do all those other times and just leave it alone.
Well, you know what I would want you to do is to admit that it was a bad call, but I don't know. I'll never get that. So I know it is what it is.
You may have to interpret this one for me. I don't know where we're going with here. Terrence Templeton, this may be between you two. Gonna miss that white girl you bring out.
No, all right. So, Mark, this is young Holloway. I referred to the whiteboard as white girl.
Oh, I got you. All
And
right. Nothing wrong with
well,
that.
the only thing is that it
Well,
could be
yeah.
misinterpreted. It's
Oh,
one
it
of those
could
things
be.
that could
Absolutely.
be
Yes.
flipped all kinds of. So I switched it. But the
Yeah.
first couple of times I called, of course, it's the dynamic, just like my nickname for Bubba Bolden. Do you know what that is, Mark?
Yeah, the light skinned warrior.
Mark, the fans loved it. Bubba himself just is like, that's so clever. He loved it. But of course, some people are like, oh, that's a little, insensitive. And I get it. I get both sides. I wasn't being discriminatory or racist in any manner. I was just saying he's from the West Coast, just like the Warriors. He's a little light skinned, just like majority of the front court for the Warriors. So he was a light skinned warrior, and that's just how I went with it. Played at SC, So I thought, and it was a great play on words, and people loved it. But of course, you had some people that didn't and thought I was being disingenuous. I understand that side, so I still called him light skinned warrior because when I got the approval from him, that's all that mattered. As long as he and his family didn't view it as me being derogatory, but I had to pull that nickname from the whiteboard. So now I just call it the whiteboard, my handy dandy notebook or one of those things. But yeah, when I first started because before I started actually screen recording and learned how to screen record, the way that I would show my knowledge was, of course, through the whiteboard. So it was be this thing where on the channel, I'll be debating with somebody and somebody say, go ahead and pull that white girl out. So you don't want me to pull a white girl out. That's what I would say over and over to get them all fired up and hyped in the chat. And then we pull out the white girl. We'll break down what we were going over and just draw it up. So, yeah.
All right, folks, we appreciate you being here for the HOLSUM1'S finale right here at the Voice of College Football on our Thursday night show. I'm going to be sad at the end of this show in particular when I typically say, get on back here next Thursday at 8 Eastern. I won't be able to say that at the conclusion tonight. I am happy that the HOLSUM1 is following his dream because this is about him and his aspirations and all the hard work he has put in. So this is not like this is the beginning of the dream and I'm going to start working tomorrow toward this dream. This is something he has put in a lot of time and effort already to get to the point where he is, and then to be able to break free from these obligations and put this center stage fully focused and drive toward his goal.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, they're going crazy in the chat, Mark. I guess we'll have to. It's my finale. Why not? I can't get in trouble for this. So it's allegedly. You got to go down to Terrence Templeton's comment.
Oh yeah. I do remember this one too.
Oh, so you remember the backstory on this too?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, Mark, I know I did not. I know I didn't call this. I would never call another man. That's just out of this. But man, they made it. It is one of them things where I'm man enough and humble enough to be able to laugh at myself. And I watched that live back so many times. I'm like, I know I didn't call that man that. But it was just something the chat picked up and ran with it. Because when people know that something gets under your skin, they just run with it. But it wasn't malicious. But the same show that I called Bubba Bolden light-skinned warrior, Somebody in the chat goes, nah, you had a different nickname for him early in the chat. You called them cookies and cream. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I would never do that. And it's been an ongoing joke for the longest, man. So yeah, it's good God. Family though, man. Family. You got to be able to laugh with family. If family can't chastise you, take jabs at you, you're not family. So even though they know that I know I didn't say that, they still, still jab at you. And it's all in good fun.
Gage coming back. Oh boy, he's going to go back to that January night in Arizona in 2003. Gage, we appreciate the contribution. Keep it real, Mark. Gamble Gator armed the ball because he's not a receiver. That's why he never ran one route in the league. Again, in honor and to pay respect to the Wholesome One tonight, I will pick up that conversation. I'm sure it'll come up some other time, and I will make my defense.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it'll be forever. It's similar to if Tallahassee had a kicker. How different is Miami perceived?
Oh, wow.
Like that's one of those things that really did. And then think about what we would say. Well, what if they missed it? I mean, you got 5 iterations of wide left, or wide right, and wide left, 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 right, right. And how different, and a lot of those was either game winning or game tying opportunities. Majority of them was game winning opportunities. And how different are things if they had someone that could kick the ball? So,
Man, I wish you and I would have discovered how much we both love the NFL and the history of the NFL sooner, because once we did, we really got into it. Because I will sit and watch, and I usually skip around because you can't watch a full game. It takes forever, but I'll skip around catching different games from 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. And I am constantly, if I could make about 5 of me, one of me would be doing an NFL history channel and to dissect all the things that could have happened differently that were that close, whether it was an official's call, which I put in a different category, an official's call than you missed a kick. Because you missed a kick, that's part of the game.
right.
To your credit in bringing up that other rival of yours,
Tallahassee. You can say it with us, Mark.
okay,
Tallahassee.
I'll say it tonight in honor of you. I got to keep bending rules for the Wholesome One here. So I refer
there
to
we go. We look better in here today.
I refer to college football teams, regardless of the fandom here. I refer to them as to their, I got Cam on here every Wednesday night referring to O State and the Acorns, and I got to put up with that. And and then you come back with Tallahassee, which doesn't bother me because they're not my team. But
Right.
yeah, there we go, Tallahassee. So, on one hand, for real football people, coaches, players, that probably really gets to somebody when it's on the foot of a kicker deciding those things. But those are the rules. That's part of the game. You better have a kicker who's going to be able to bail you out a couple times a year. And that's part of the game.
It is. It is. I mean, I don't know if we want to turn this into Wholesom's last segment, but we've had great talks, Mark, about moments, and one that really stands out to me. It was the number one moment for me in my time of watching Miami. Will always be breaking the streak against Tallahassee in 2017. Why it's so particular to me? I got a noise complaint, which took me all the way up until in order to get into grad school, I had to pay that fine. But I had a fine on my account from me losing my mind when legendary Daryl Langham, catches that touchdown against a 5-star from Broward County. McFadden, I think his last name was. And right before this, Malik Rozier is running out. He's jogging out, and he's going like this. to the crowd, hyping them up. They're doing the chant. I mean, they're like it's going. And he's gesturing to him. And I'm like, wow, what if he throws an interception right now? That would be just the biggest come on man ever. Like, and he steps back. Mark Richt is on the side. They show a picture of him because they know he called this play for throw it to where only it's either going out of bounds or only Daryl can catch it. It's basically what it is. They do a great job because the person who was dominating that game was Braxton Berrios. He was dominating, had a nice game stretch, had 2 touchdowns in that game, playing very, very well, right? So we put him 2-by-2 and put Berrios on that side. Now, the other time before, we had Ahmad Richardson opposite of Braxton Berrios to force Derwin James to pick someone to help. But this time, they put Daryl Langham, who wasn't on the sheet. He's not on the sheet for them to know to stop him. But they put him 2-by-2 and sent Berrios on a sink. So if Derwin James flips his hips and go run straight into Berrios, which it was a delay. It was the perfect job to delay him from getting over there to be able to help on the fade route. And, Daryl Langham catches it. And not only catches it and falls out to one, catches it, turns all the way around, extends the ball over the pylon. Touchdown, Canes. And it's somewhat of a blur for me still to think about it because I was overcome with emotion. I mean, tears of joy. I'm screaming to the top. Yeah! Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm on the floor. One of my friends has a video of me literally on the floor sobbing because that game meant so much to me. That team and to win this game meant just that much to me. And I'll never forget that, man, because, that email that Monday morning, it was Saturday, that email that Monday morning was bad. I think I had like 4 of them all at the same time, and everybody knew why, because Miami is playing Tallahassee and Holloway's going crazy on the first floor, and people from the 3rd floor can hear him just screaming to the top of my lungs. Because for some people, it could be the 2001 national championship game, destroying Nebraska. I was 5, so I didn't really know what was happening. And other times, it could be attending certain games and being able to say I was there when this happened, which I've been to some good games. I told the story about the Tim Tebow and the 2 Florida people walking into the Orange Bowl, one of the last games in the Orange Bowl. Miami played FIU. I've told the story of being at the 2013 game against Florida and a big whiteout game in Miami Beach, Florida. I was at that game. I also was at the Wake Forest game that year when Denzel Perryman went viral for that hit stick where he picked the dude up and slammed him, and the whole crowd went crazy, and he made ESPN top 10. I happened to be there for that. My all-time number one had to be legendary Daryl Langham scoring that touchdown and breaking the streak. And of course, the context behind it and how much trouble I got in makes it funny. But for me, that was huge because this team in Tallahassee was on a tear, Mark. Through my middle school years, it was the Florida Gators who were dominating in the state. And one thing about the state of Florida, specifically Miami, is very finicky. Okay, there weren't many Heat fans after Shaq left the Heat and Dwayne Wade was winning. And then they dropped off for a couple of years, but everybody was Heat fans again when LeBron and Bosh came through. And everybody stopped being fans again when they got historically blown out by the Spurs. And LeBron goes back home, and now it's just Wade and Bosh, and it's an injured Wade, and nobody were fans again. So the reason why I take pride in wearing Miami gear so much and being such a Miami guy is, yes, I'm also from Hialeah, Miami Lakes, born and raised in Dade County. But I was a fan when it wasn't cool to be a Miami fan. So to talk to my family in 2017 when Miami's on this 10-game win streak, could have been 11 if the Ark State game would have been rescheduled, but that's gone, long gone. And to hear about the young kids, and I don't like saying that word, but they're kids, they're 5, 6 years old. So the kids throwing up the U on the Pop Warner Fields, on Scott Lake Field. The Miami Gardens Vikings is what they're called now. Or the Miami Gardens Ravens, ran by Coach Rod Mack, who was a Miami Hurricane player in the mid-2000s, linebacker, who's over that organization of the Baltimore Ravens, Miami Gardens Ravens. And to know that he got flags all over the place again, it brought a real smile to my face, because I remember walking the halls of Country Club Middle School in Miami Lakes, and Florida Gator hoodies was on, Tallahassee hoodies was on. Not many people wore that orange and green with pride. We get to high school, and my first year the fall of 2010 was my first year in high school, and the Gators are just coming off of a losing Tebow and losing to Nick Saban in the SEC championship game. So we still had some Gator fans in there, but Tallahassee had beat Notre Dame in a really nice bowl game to kind of take off the Jimbo Fisher era, now post Bobby Bowden in the Jimbo Fisher era. And they went on a run and won a bunch of Orange Bowls all the way up, and a national championship my senior season in 2013. My senior season, graduated that spring in May of 2014. They had won the freaking national championship. In that same time, whether the Florida Gators had won a championship when I was in middle school, Tallahassee won it when I was in high school, the Miami Hurricanes had a combined 2 9-win seasons in that time span. And add 10 more years to that, and they've only had one more 9-win and one 10-win since then. But I still wear it with pride. And I will always love that logo and love that program and love that institution. And that's the big thing, is I take pride in being a fan, even when it wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool.
Nelson, thank you for being here and for the contribution. I enjoyed watching you talk Canes football. I look forward to following your coaching career.
Thank you. Thank you. If you haven't already, Mark always does this and puts it up on Twitter. I'm no longer Wholesome1 Holloway on Twitter. I'm just Holloway _52. And then once the profession takes off, of course, I'll add coach to it, but I want to earn that. Okay, that's one of the things I want to make sure I do. Not just throw it on there before it's official. But that's the best place that you'll be able to get to me and watch and see what I got going on. So at Holloway _52 is my Twitter handle. Q Mark, clicking it up as I'm explaining it to you. It'll pop up here soon, y'all. That's where you're going to find me. That's where you'll be able to follow me and follow my my journey. And the best I can. I kind of went missing for a while. I haven't been on my main channel. I had stopped using Twitter for a while because I really wanted to focus in on myself and getting things and turning it into a reality. So that's where I've been. And I'll probably do that again over the summer while I'm going through what I'm going through this summer to see what I can have ready for this fall. And if something still doesn't pop this fall, by spring, something will be up and I'll be official. And you all will be able to be happy for me in that instance. But that'll be where you'll be able to follow me on that and follow the journey and tell stories about, hey, that guy was telling about how he wanted to be this and that 5 years ago, and now look at him. And that's what you want to be. You don't just want to be a talker. You don't just want to be a visionary. You want to be somebody that's able to put the words, put that pen to paper, have faith in God that what you're asking for is a part of his plan. And that's what you hope for, that it's aligned. Because if it's not aligned, then you're going to be disappointed, not him. So you probably want to just get in line with what your gifts are and what you're put here to do. And some people are blessed to find their gift, to find what they're driven to do early on. Some people spend 20, 30 years doing something opposite and don't find what they love to do 2 years later. So I think I know my calling, and I hope that my steps are aligned with what he has planned for me, because I don't ever want to work against his plan, and put my head down and work for it.
Well, the three things that I see, and there's so much more to it, but I'm going to focus on these three things that I see in you moving forward because I've seen them here for the last 3 years and I've seen them grow. Is obviously football knowledge is paramount. That's a must. And then there's a passion involved because to me, passion can manifest itself a number of ways. Most people think of passion when they see somebody who's pumping their fist or crying or emoting in some way. There's no doubt about that's one way. But I also think of passion being somebody who's willing to not just be the one pumping their fist or doing a touchdown dance in the end zone, but they're the one on Tuesday who gets to the film session early, who goes to practice early, who's grinding when it's not fun. So you have that work ethic, passion, and the emotional investment and passion. And then thirdly is the ability to teach. To be a coach is to be a teacher. And, you have certainly honed that skill, displayed it, and shown and displayed that for us here and more specifically on your channel, um, time and time again.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I can keep saying. Thank you. Because it's it wasn't always that way. And before I go, I have to be remiss to tell the story as to where this wholesome name comes from. I don't know if I've ever explained this on live. Mark, do you know this story?
I do, but I don't want to say that I've got it down cold, but I know that it's family related.
Right. So this week, unfortunately, it's a rival school in Miami, but I went to American High in Hialeah, Florida. Well, it's a rivalry to us, but not really to them. Carroll City has never really respected American. But for a long time, there was a certain area called the Bajas, and it's a low end to middle class area in Carroll City, not Miami Gardens. We'll call it Carroll City. And depending on which street you lived on, half of them went to Carroll City. The other half had to be bused way to 57th to American Senior High School from almost darn near 27th. Like it's a big difference in the area, right? So you could be on one block, your cousin is 2 blocks over, and he's in the jurisdiction of Carroll City. Now, I say this because my freshman year, 2010, I'm a NAV. Okay, what that stands for is newly acquired varsity. What that meant was I was the dummy, the beat up doll for the scout team guy. I was beat up, freshman. Played some JV. I was a starter on JV, and I would come over and have varsity practice, right? Now, after my freshman year, going into spring, so 2011, January 2011 comes up, and American Senior High gets a brand new coach by the name of Corey Bell, who is currently the FIU defensive backs coach. He spent time at the University of Miami. He is a South Carolina grad, a starter in the SEC as a strong safety, and has spent this time coaching in various places, known for his big time as the head coach at Miami Edison, and built Miami Edison into a big time powerhouse. Didn't really get over the hump to win state championships, but was spitting out talent after talent after talent out of Miami Edison. Just to give you a backstory. He comes over. He brings a coach by the name of Ronald Hardy over, the offensive line coach. And at this time, I'm a defensive lineman. Of course, I was like 5'8.5". I hadn't hit another growth spurt yet, little guy. So I'm like, the only way for me to play is to play defense. O-line, I'm too short to play offensive line. But if I want to start, he told me, you got to go on over to offensive line. So I go to center, right? Turned out to be a great decision. 3-year letterman from that time on, starting as a sophomore, junior, and a senior. Now, Ronald Hardy was such a big Southern Christian man. He like 6'4", 500, big old belly, Southern. He's from Melbourne, Florida. Okay. So real country. Chewed tobacco. I probably shouldn't tell that on live, but he was chewing tobacco on campus. But anyhow, uh, he overheard me because I would always say the prayers. And he's like, boy, your family, your daddy a pastor or something? Because you got an aura with you. And I didn't know what aura meant, so I thought it was making fun of me. I said, Coach, what? He go, you know what? You ain't Holloway no more. You wholesome Holloway. And it was something that because my dad's name is Dwayne also, but he goes by Ted. A lot of the family calls him Ted. And I felt like for the first time that I had something that was endearing. It was me. You know, I had the Holloway name, and my grandfather is well known in the community, former state representative, former school board member with the last name Holloway, Wilbur T. And so I was attached to him with the Holloway name and attached to my dad with the Dwayne name. So I'm like, when do I have something for me? And I was given this name, spelled all kinds of funny, because he didn't know that the proper way to spell wholesome is WHOLESOME. Wholesome. Even it's in the Bible, spelled just like that, wholesome. And he didn't know how to spell it, so he spelled it like that, HOLSUM, wholesome. And it spread and it stuck. And I always took pride in the prayers. I did the prayers before the game, did the prayers after the game for the team. Everybody gets on their knees, stand in the middle, and hold their hands on the pads and bow your head and pray. That was me. And it would get to the point, Mark, we wouldn't even have pregame meal. He would wait and say, ain't nobody eating until Wholesome come bless this food. You know? So if they got around school, I was known as Wholesome throughout the whole time. So that is where this name comes from. Now, the reason why it means so much to me, to end the story, we got 8 minutes left, and I know we got other stuff to talk about. So to make this long story come to an end, the reason why it's still very emotional for me to talk about is Ronald Hardy never got a chance to see me graduate high school. My senior year, Coach Hardy got lung cancer. So he didn't even get a chance to see me play my final season, my senior season, or sign my national letter of intent to Mayville State University because he passed away week 3 of our senior season. And the last time I got to see him, Mark, he could barely breathe, he could like he couldn't even really say anything. But he just looked at me, grabbed my arm, and he patted my hand and he said, wholesome. And that's all he could get out. And he died a couple days later after that. And it will always stick with me, that name, because the last time I got to see the man who had confidence in me, who gave me a chance when I wasn't the best, and he knew he could protect the center, because a lot of teams played even front. So you can protect your center. Your center may not be the best player. As long as he's smart and going to snap that football when he's supposed to snap that football, he can play. And from my sophomore year until the end of my junior season, when we lost to Plantation, he believed in me, Wholesome Holloway. So that's where the name comes from, you all, and that's why it means so much to me. That's why I decided to go by it. And originally, I was D Holloway on YouTube. Then I did The Holloway, and then someone gave me and said, "Why don't you just call yourself the Wholesome One? Because you are wholesome, Wholesome One." And so then I came up with the whole intro, Wholesome One Holloway, HOLSUM, the number one Holloway, because I always had to explain how to spell it because most people know that's not how you spell wholesome. So I always had to say that over and over and over um, how to say that name. So I know I may have bored some people with that one, but might have pulled some heartstrings. So people out there might be crying. I
I sure
thought
hope
about it.
so.
I thought about it, especially before he passed, which was actually in our biggest game, the week of our biggest game of the season. We played Miami Springs at Trash Pile Stadium, and they rang the bell 10 times for him because he's in the Hall of Fame at Carroll City for his as a teacher and as a coach there under Willie Frazier and Billy Rowe on Carroll City side as offensive line coach. 20 years coaching at Carroll City. So he was big in the community through football and as a teacher, and also went on to be Lawton Childs of middle school in Miami. He was their history teacher there. So he's touched a lot of lives, and in particular, he touched mine. And that's where the name was given. The given name, Wholesome Holloway.
Anything I'm going to say is pretty much obvious. That's an incredible story.
Thank
It just is. It just is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm preparing for my acting career, Mark. That was that story illustration, and all of it's true. It's not fabricated at any moment, but just the illustration. Emotion. Emote. I love that word. Emote. I love it.
Corey's got a question for you here. Thank you for the super chat, Corey. He says, for fun, what were your least favorite coach speak statements from past Miami coaches? They left us all in the field.
They left it all on the field.
Oh, they left it all on the
after
field.
a big loss, and they, well, we tried hard, and oh man, T&M, the new Miami, I hated it.
That was Al Golden, right?
No. That's Manny Diaz, 2019 Manny Diaz.
No.
T&M, the new Miami. I think I have one for every coach, so I'll go back. Al Golden, he did say, oh man, after every loss, he would start every single press conference with, we fell short today and it falls on me. No sugar honey iced tea. Okay, yes. But after every loss, Mark, that was his first opening thing. Coming there sweating with the orange tie and this shirt and wiping his brow. And the first thing he always says is, oh, no. It starts with me. We lost, blah, 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 and it starts with me. Randy Shannon had one that was a little iffy too. They flying around out there. What he meant by that was they're playing hard and fast, playing with the hair on fire, mostly talking about his defense because his offenses were atrocious. Mark Riggs. Was there one that pissed me off with Mark Riggs? I think this is not even his. I'm just going to be ticky-tack. When Mark Rick took this job, Mark, they were building so much that every single interview he's had in the background, all you hear is the construction going on. Beep, 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 boom, boom, beep. You can't hear anything anyone is saying because they were just putting down the groundworks for the indoor practice facility, which didn't come until 3 years later. And he had to put up $1 million of his own dollars and blah, blah, blah. But that I don't really know if he had a statement I didn't like. Because, I mean, to be honest, besides his last year here, Miami had their best stretch in forever when he was our head coach. So I don't really have much to complain about with Mark Richt. His offense was a little inept, but yeah, that's about it. Does Coach Cristobal have one? And you know that's my guy, so I don't really have much negative to say. I don't know if there's much to say bad about Coach Cristobal's pressers. I will say that the first year of Coach Cristobal, it felt like the players were just so, oh, we're kind of used to it thing. I mean, we're out there getting blown out by Tallahassee by 30 points. And they really come to the, well, we just have to execute and try harder. We got to get back to work, watch the film, and get back to work. So, ugh. Ugh. That was nasty. But yeah, the flying around, the hair on fire, it starts with me, the new Miami, that stuff would be the ones that I would say were the things that fired me up.
HOLSUM. Here's the guy that made this show go for the last 3 years on Thursday night with all of you. And so we are praying for his very best. Wholesome One, you know that. You are in our prayers. And we look forward to Monday night. And you have been an inspiration to me. You've been an inspiration, I'm sure, to all sorts of Miami fans and folks that have joined us here on Thursday nights. And I know based on your passion, your energy, your drive, your intellect, your current knowledge that will only grow as you apply yourself and expand your knowledge of the game and how to apply yourself, your ability to connect with people will serve you well in your coaching endeavors. I have no doubt about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for this opportunity to come before you as many times as I have, and sometimes I've missed it, and we know we made up for it. Breaking news, well, not really breaking the news, but coming on with Mark right after Coach Cristobal had been announced is also one of my big moments. To be able to be on, I mean, we were simulcasting, it was like 700 people in there, and I was able to say that the guy I'd been begging got the job. And as I bow out, he first year went 5-7. So hopefully they do a lot better, post that. But this has been amazing, from being here in the tail end of Mark Richt all the way through the Manny Diaz era, and now the first year of Coach Cristobal. And to have shared this spot, to have shared the screen with one of my media heroes in Kim Underwood, to have shared the screen with you, Mark, and to have been able to go back and forth, to joke about, to be honest and be truthful, to be vulnerable, to be open, to laugh, and in this moment, hold back tears, but just be able to do both. But, in the words of your big time guy, and in the words of a newly acquired fan, and even though it is a cover of a Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. And that will be what I hope people remember, is that I'm not Cam Underwood. I'm not an other guy. I'm not Paul. Shout out to Paul. I'm not Coach Hayes, the great Coach Hayes. I'm Wholesome One Holloway. And this has been a great one. And lastly, it's all about that you.
Everyone, please join the Wholesome One next Monday on his channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for a big send-off. Wholesome One, thank you so much. And I will never be able to thank you enough for what you've delivered here for 3 years.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. God bless. And as always, go Canes.